Welcome to a new video, and it's been a while, but it's just because I've been trying to actually do a testing period, should we call it, which is what it is actually, on the Garmin Forerunner 265 watch, and that was going to be the next video, but it's a lengthy process because there's a lot of tech involved and science, sports science, having to call it, behind the actual watch itself. So don't want to rush that video, but today in this video we'll be looking at the iPhone 15 Plus and also comparing it to, I'd say, the previous generational leap, which was the iPhone XS. It's the phone I've actually had for about 5 years now or so. It's my daily use. It's my, well, everyone calls it daily driver. I've used this phone for, it's my go-to phone. I've had phones in the past. I've had, Samsung. I've got an S20 on me right now. I've had others as well. And I still always default back to the iPhone XS. So we have the iPhone in this little Apple bag, as you can see. So came straight from the Apple Store in Lakeside. Got it just yesterday. I was waiting for the other accessories that actually just arrived 5 minutes ago, such as this power brick from Anker. It's a C2C power brick, so you don't get a power brick these days in Apple phones and other phones because they only come with a cable. Got just a brick, so they don't actually have a C2C brick. We also have a C2C cable just in case. It's a bit more of a quicker speed, well, from what I've seen on this website. This can handle up to 100 watts, and not all cables can. And this power brick goes to 40 watts, so I just wanted to make sure there was no issues on either end. We also got a mouse case as well, which we'll go into a bit later as well. It's a really nice case, and they say this case, good chance of competing against the Caseify case that can cost up to 70 to 100 pounds. I'm not too sure which one it rivals, but they said out of all the cases, mouse seems to have something going for it. So we'll get into that one a bit later as well. And we also got a pretty nice screen protector as well that was a bit more on the upper side of things. Again, just wanted to go have a bit more protection on a bigger phone because it's the 15 Plus, keep in mind, not the regular. So it's a 6.7 inch phone. Let's take it out of the packaging. So this is the 15. I've only done one thing, is I've removed the backing here. I've done nothing more than this. Everything else is perfectly sealed. I've only unboxed it once just to check the phone was there, and I did that. That's all I've done. So technically it's been unboxed already, but it's been not really unboxed because I didn't do anything more than that. So as you can see, in the 15 Plus, you just get, first of all, you just get this little cutout on the front of the box. That's about it. It's a nice little box. It's a little bit hollow looking here at the front, just for the camera. So there you go, it's a bit hollow there for the camera bump. And that's about it. Nothing more in there. It's just hollow, quite firm. That's about it. Quite solid case. Very hard cardboard here. Very nice, just for the camera bump. And that's about it. That's all you got for the front. Then you got the phone itself. So on the 15, you've got the two cameras here. It's in that sort of like diagonal positioning. Whereas on the 10, you got it straight down from each other. So that's the 10, just straight down. And the finish on the back is quite smooth actually. Remember, this is the Plus version, so it's going to be bigger than the 10. So this is a very more, very glossy. You can definitely see a lot more reflection, and you can even see the light in the background as well. You can see a fair amount just from the gloss alone. It's like a mirror at this point, isn't it? So that's pretty much like a mirror. On the back of this one, the only thing that's kind of giving that reflection is the Apple logo itself. Whereas on this one, it gives it on everywhere. And the Apple logo itself is fairly glossy and very visible actually. But here on the 15, it's actually a bit more less noticeable when you got that black on black. So if you hold it in a certain angle, you can't actually see that Apple logo. It looks like it kind of fades away when you hide it in this sort of like black on black. It's quite nice actually not to see the logo all the time. Depends on the angle, you can't always see it. I actually like that. The phone itself, how slippery is the phone? It's not as slippery as I think the XS is. If I give the XS a go, it's just kind of more, yeah, definitely slides a lot more now I found the right area. That's not dirty. Yeah, that slides a lot. If I use the 15, of course it's brand clean. It does slide. Probably the similar actually. They're both supposed to be glass backing, so that's probably why. I don't know, I always prefer the matte look. It's just really something about it, you know, it doesn't stand out. It's just a really nice, sleek, slick phone. And they got a bit of gloss on here on the camera area, you know. Not too sure I want it. This looks very sort of like a lot of scratches will occur around the camera bump area. You can see that area here. It looks like it's gonna be prone to scratches, like the back of the 15. Sorry, the back of the 10. I mean, the 10's got a fair amount of scratches. This was second hand, but as you can see, there's scratches just down here. Just get the lighting for it. There's scratches up here. There's scratches pretty much everywhere on this back of this phone, and especially along the edges. I have not actually taken off the cover for the 15, so you can see we've got the minus and plus volume rockers, and we've got the notification, or like, you know, the alerts up here on the top left, which I think is the same on the 10X as well. So you see side by side. There we go. So you've got the volume rockers. They're pretty much identical where the positioning is. Obviously one's a bigger phone, so this should be about a 6-inch phone. This is a 6.7-inch phone, and as you can see here, it's got the volume rocker there, and it's got the alert here at the top left as well, just actually underneath it. And on the right hand side, oh, keep staying on. Actually, could just turn the phone off. We do have the power button here in the top, well, not in the top right, but just towards the top right, actually. That's where the power button is. Now, where is the SIM? Because so on the X, you have the SIM card tray just right here, just around the middle of the phone on the right hand side. Now, for the iPhone 15, it looks to be invisible. No, okay, here it is. So it's not actually shown on the diagram initially. So now it's actually just here on the left side of the phone, and it's at the bottom. So this is where you've got your new SIM card area, and it's just right here where my thumb is. So instead of being here on the right hand side of the phone, where the power button is, in the middle, it's now on the bottom left side. So it's just down here now, which is fine. Either way, it's not like horrible positioning, don't really mind that. Let's just get to the rest of the box, see what else you get. So you get the Type-C to Type-C Apple cable. Quite minimalistic box, I quite like it. I'm very minimalistic myself. Nothing more in here but the instructions that tell you just general stuff, because my dad got the 15 and the 15, they all have the same pretty much instructions, so nothing different about that. This is the 15 and this is the 10 in comparison. So as you can see, it's definitely bigger. You can definitely tell that is a 6.7 and that's probably about a 6 to 6.1 inch phone. But the thickness overall, let's take a look at that. I'd say that the 10 model is slimmer. The 10 is slightly slimmer, if you can see that. It's not by a whole lot, but it is just slimmer. And the camera bumps, as you can see here, I think obviously it should come out a bit more. So you got the initial bump here on the 15, and then you got the camera. So here's the camera bump here. It's got that little bit of a lip, should we call it? So that lip there, and then you got the actual cameras that stick out themselves. So they're definitely bigger sensors, much bigger sensors, and then actually you can see the bigger lenses as well. You can see here how big those lenses are in comparison to these two. So it's definitely upgrades, definitely upgrades. I mean, of course, these are obviously 5 years difference, but you know, you should be aware that hopefully there is a difference. Now, this is the phone that was the generational leap in sort of digital phones. This is a picture I took myself, a lovely little image of a butterfly, an orange tip one, but not about photography today. And this is the first time I'm peeling this. It's got a bit more mangled than as you thought, just the pull of it. So it's the first time I'm peeling this. Very satisfying. And as you can see, well, you can't see, depends on the lighting itself. Very, very nice screen. Completely like a mirror. You can see everything behind the camera and everything. Yeah, really, really beautiful. At the top right here, you have the actual camera itself. It's a bit hard to see. So what they've done here is, as you can see, they've changed the initial design. So you've no longer got this obvious grille where you've got the stereo. It's actually, there's a small sort of, shall we say, like a little bar somewhere. You can see it at the top here. And the sound comes from here. And you've also got your camera, and you've got your little bar down here. and then from here when it turns on you can use it as notifications and other factors as well. So it's my actually first time turning it on. Now most devices when you buy them have like an 80% power, just because the battery has a better longevity, and they say 80% is roughly the sweet spot for where you want your phone. So it should be 80, maybe a bit lower, because obviously I didn't use it, and then there was obviously decay and stuff like that. So that was pretty quick to turn on. That was no issue whatsoever. First time turning this phone on as well. And you see I'm not connected to any network. The power's about 80%, I'll say that is. The top right there. It's very, very glossy. You see there, that's about 8%, I'd say. That's a very smooth interaction there. Really nice, actually. Not as big as I thought it'd be. It felt like initially it'd be a bit unruly, because obviously I'm so used to the 10. And look at the 10s, the size in comparison. Like, that's a big difference. So if you want to set up your phone, now I don't want to give away my email address, you can basically just do set up new iPhone. You see here, all you have to do is put them next to each other. It will detect that this is a new phone, and then you'll be like, okay, I wanted to put this, all my data from here into this phone here. And I don't do anything. I have to put them next to each other like this, and it recognizes it. That's really lovely. And they do that across most phones, but not everyone knows this, so this is just a bit of a tip if you want to transfer data over from one to the other. So you can press continue. If I didn't realize it showed me my email. There we go. Vision this on the frame. So what you have to do is just hold the camera up where that like little bit of information is, scans that, getting things ready. That is really bright, Jesus Christ. You can see the difference. Like one's, you know, applying the all the lighting just so not so bright. Then you can see the camera at the top with the little bar at the top, and you see the screen is more enveloped over the entire phone instead of have a little cut at the top. No, it keeps showing my email. So all you have to do is press just set up for me here. So you set up for me. Then obviously enter the passcode of your phone. So it may take a few minutes to set up your phone. So you'll get this a bit of information here. So you just do the continuing data, like how you set up your phone would normally. So you just press continue. Didn't realize I'd be going through all this data at the same time of like what to do. And then it says face unlock. So you use it to unlock with your face. Let's press continue. Oh, so you actually have to set up the Face ID as well again. So it's a bit annoying because it's not really a full transfer, because this should store the data. Obviously when you unlock your phone, you unlock it with your face. But this one seems to have not had that data transferred over, so we'll just get started from there. Pretty flawlessly easy, I'd say. Like, it didn't take much time at all. That took about 5 seconds. So all you have to do is keep your face in the middle and then rotate around. And then you just do Face ID, set up later, I say in settings. I don't actually have a mask on me now. Press continue. Do you want to transfer? Continue. Setting up your Apple ID. Again, I want to show all this. You need to go through the terms and conditions, to scroll, press agree. And then it has this really nice, like, lovely little loading screen. So it says your little name down below. Then it's just going to keep doing this for a while, which I think this is actually quite a nice improvement of the previous stuff they have. Really like the combination of colors. And then he just says make this your new iPhone, continue. So you can check through from the other iPhone settings what you want to transfer over. A lot of like information that I really care about. Screen time, don't really care. Light or dark display, yeah, that's pretty okay. Location services, that looks fine. Press continue there. You can customize the bottom, but that looks okay. So everything looks okay so far. Maybe it's going to take a second. Now it might come up with saying you need to plug in your phone charger, because sometimes obviously transferring the data from one to the other, you know, even though it's going to do it wirelessly, it is a lot of data to transfer over. So you may need to say, it might say, oh, you need to plug in for this to go across. Which is fine, which is the reason why we bought these products, you know. And obviously you got the nice little USB to USB Type-C cable, so that's pretty nice. Shouldn't take too long. Finish on new phone. So it says here, keep this iPhone near your new iPhone while your information is transferred. So looks like they're transferring over probably right now. Now this doesn't look to be a quick process, but it looks to be happening right now. There we go. Okay, so it looks like it's getting there eventually, but it's just taking its time, as we all knew this would happen. Setting up a phone is never the quickest thing in the world, but you know, we get there eventually. Okay, so we continue with this. Siri, how's the weather? Hey Siri, send a message. Siri, set a timer for 3 minutes. Looks good. Hey Siri, get directions from home. So actually you have to do it directly. I said from home. Hey Siri. Oh. Siri, play music. Play some music. Doesn't care about that one. Odd. Looks like it cared about the from, but it didn't care about what I said at one point. Okay. I just thought I would just throw a bit of a curve there. Didn't seem to care too much. Improve Siri and dictation. Okay, this is a bit new, I think. I don't really want to share audio recordings, no. I don't think many people want to like the sound of my voice or want to listen to it on repeat. Just don't share. Half the thing if you just don't share. So this is actually a really nice feature now. Not everyone is going to get this phone for that feature, but it's a crash detection feature. So this is actually really good. So in case of emergency, you've got press and hold for the emergency, which is on the X model as well, and other models, which is fine. It's got crash detection. It says if your phone detects a serious crash, car crash, it will automatically try and call emergency services. And it says in selected countries, emergency SOS via satellite. When available, iPhone can try to text emergency services via satellite if you cannot connect to a mobile network. I think that's a really lovely feature. For right now, I think it's free, but don't hold me to how long it's going to be. You know, it might be free for a small period of time, which I think is fine. But I would love it to be free, because the amount of money you spend on this phone is £1,000. And obviously with how a return works, if you sell it instantly, you can probably get £1,000 for it being brand new. But eventually you're going to get like for barely £100 for this phone. So, you know, the return's not great. I do like the aesthetic more on this phone, just because you've got that more screen real estate. Obviously it being a bigger phone by 0.6 inches, that's one thing, but it's also the fact as you've got more screen real estate as a general, as a whole, as you've got no cutout. It nicely matches the edges of the phone. You can see this is the edge of the phone where my thumb is running, and there's literally like I don't know, not even a centimeter, a few millimeters here of just like small bezel that runs around the phone, but it pretty much the glass to the edge. That's what you want. I think that's really nice. Just kind of makes the whole process just of using your phone just a bit more immersive, and the whole looking at it, I just kind of enjoy more overall. So I really do like that aspect about it. Now the transfer seems to be pretty quick, but I don't have a lot of like data on here, so it looks to be remaining time about 6 minutes, and you see on both phones it says 6 minutes. Can't actually do anything during this process. Normally you could flick through here, but it looks like that might interrupt it, so we'll leave it alone for now and let's get back to it in a sec. Okay, so one of the phones are just kind of getting to the very last end of transferring through. Just want to go for this cable. Now I've just took a quick look at it, and if you can tell, it's actually a braided cable, which is a lot nicer and should be a bit more robust than the standard cables that you do get from Apple, which were more like this. Now obviously it didn't start out like this, like looking all a bit grimy and horrible, but this is what you'd used to get. It's more like a plasticky rubber style cable. Now, as you can see, it's had better days. There's a bit of like dirt here and there. It's just got from the bag, and a bit of like probably pen, but these don't tend to last that long. It looks like the transfer is now complete. That didn't take too long, so I'm just going to press continue. That's right there. And then it gives you the option what you want to do with your phone. So you can erase the iPhone, and I'm just going to press not now. That's it. And then you just go to your home page, and that's it. And that's the whole process done. So nothing more I need to do there. That's that done. And it looks like it's trying to go through the rest of the phone here and just give it the full-on installing and probably downloading and everything else it's going to do. Obviously I don't think 6 minutes was long enough. I think you just downloaded a lot of the information. Probably do a few updates. This could be the ISO update. So I'm not too sure it comes with it fully updated out of the box. So that's going to be doing that for a small period of time. Now while it's doing this, we can actually look at the case as well from Mouse. Now this was a case that was recommended on YouTube. Just put that to the side of it while it's doing that. Now I looked through quite a lot of cases, and this was the one that was recommended. a little back there, a little bit of a tab. Don't want to always ruin these boxes. It's always just you with a bit of like origami style to put them together. So activate your warranty, your warning, magnetic field. This product is filled with magnets. Pacemaker and ICD users are advised not to position products within 10 centimeters of implants. Oh, I see, because on the back there's like a little like ring. So on the back of these cases, they've got these little rings. So on the back here, there's like a little magnet. It's generally like a circular magnet with a little bit of a lip there, or a little bit of a dip down there. And also it can hold, like on the back of here, it can hold like a little mini wallet and other things as well. So it's pretty nice, useful, but with obviously the 15s having this issue of heating capacity and like heating up quite quickly and everything else, I don't think I will ever use that sort of like capability, just so until they've worked out all the kinks. It's only been a month since release, so it's not been that long, but I do actually like this green for some reason. It's like a foresty type green they've got going on the inside. It feels quite like a very sort of shock absorbent. This is more like padding, this green in the inside is, as you can see. This is black here. It's just where the obviously you've got the sort of layout for the buttons, and in here you just got a little bit of an open space for where your ringer is. Overall, not horrible. Not too sure what these two dots here at the bottom are, as there's nothing there on the phone, so not too sure what that's about. And you've got the obvious sort of gaps for your iPhone 15's volume, and you've got the charging as well. But mouse seems to be a pretty good brand, and this is, I think, the carbon fiber one as well, so it's a bit more costly by £10 than all the other ones, but it's got a really nice finish. I do like that sort of carbon look, so that's why I got it as well. And carbon fiber is much more durable, it's lighter, and it's really strong material. So if you want to get the stronger one, carbon fiber, best one to get, I'd say. As you can see here, it's got the rings that shows you. So this is what it is. These are the magnets. It seems to have a lot more, and looking like it's going to be a very snug fit overall. Oh, it's very tight, damn. Yeah, that's an extremely tight fit. Oh wow. There's no SIM card installed just yet, so I'm good thing it's warning me about that, just so I don't forget. It seems to be very, very nice. Okay, so what do you get initially? So obviously it's set up and it did clone or copy the phone. So I've got, it's downloading all the apps and everything else, trying to lay it out the same as before, which is nice. It's got a few other things on here. It's got this GarageBand, iMovies, Keynote, Numbers, and it's got this Pages as well. So let's look on the Keynote, see what's up with that. Now obviously Apple has a keynote about the products and everything else, so let's continue. No recent open documents will appear here. Keynote recents. What's this about? No shared files, create presentation. Oh, there's like a weird thing. It's like probably an Apple idea. Yeah, I don't really want that. So Keynote is going to be removed. GarageBand. I think it's GarageBand. I can't really see it properly. It's just a bad lighting area. It's welcome to GarageBand. Okay, let's press continue. Press continue. Just don't allow right now. Oh, I see. So it's got like a little sort of keyboard in there. Sound library, externals. Oh, it's quite like a nice, cute little thing. So let's see if you probably just do this. And then if I increase the sound a bit. Now I see. So it just has like a nice little of, okay, it's not too horrible. Not like I'm going to be using it, but it looks pretty good, and if you're into that sort of thing, it's more for you. For me, it's not. There's a lot of like bloatware that I need to remove. The Apple Store is like a little bloatware thing that Apple have created. Okay, more bloatware. But overall, really nice. If you go into settings and we go to general, we can see about the 15 plus right there. There we go. iPhone 15 plus. iOS is 17.0.2. The capacity of 128 gigabytes. So you can see here. It looks to be like 95 is currently available, and it's used about, I'd say about 30 overall. It looks like it has transferred the videos, photos, and applications from the previous phone, which didn't take long. I do like the feel. It looks pretty slick. Doesn't seem to be any issues. We go play a quick game on there. Oh, nice. So this is my previous Clash of Clans base, and it seems to have transferred perfectly over. I also have to destroy my own base now. Oh dear. Add a few more, shall we? So we're destroying our own base now on Clash of Clans, apparently. I didn't know that was, that's what I have to do. So this guy can go invincible for a little bit. Let's just speed this one up a little bit. Yep. So, yeah, it looks like it's kept the data, which is really nice, as you saw in that Clash of Clans game. It looks like it's really quick just to flick through. There seems to be no issues at all. If I load up a YouTube, and then I close it down, then I want to go back into it. Seems to be a nice, speedy process. I want to open up like another app, like say Clash of Clans. Have that open in the background as well. Let's do that, close that down as well. And then I'll say I also want to have Instagram in the background as well. So that's my photography one. And you see it's just really nice, pretty quick. And as you can see here, it's actually logged in to my my network. Not too sure how I feel about that, considering it's not asked me to log into my network, where it's asking me to log into other things. Obviously, hopefully that's not like a issue that's holding that much information, like it's holding the password to that. I mean, I did transfer directly from that phone to that phone, so it has to have done it somehow. And I don't know how it's done it initially, if it's by a Bluetooth or it's done it over Wi-Fi, but it seems to have done it initially just by it being next to each other. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to recognize it. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty easy. If I want to open up any of those, there's no lag. Before my 10, because it's quite an old model, and the issue is older models, when they start having all the updates and they don't actually have hardware updates, they start to lag. Now, having a phone that's 5 years old and it's going to have iOS 16 on there, when this probably came out with iOS 10, 11, 12, I don't know which one it started with, there's going to be issue with lag and everything else. If I did the same thing on this phone that I just did on that phone, no, it's not always 100% going to lag, but there will be instances where, just yesterday, I was trying to message someone, just due to the capabilities of what I had in the background or whatever, the type bar went up here, and everything just kept flicking around. It just wasn't able to handle it. And this battery capacity is about 70% or less. And yeah, overall it's just been kind of a headache to use it for the past year. It's served me well. It's a really nice, durable phone. Had no issues with it. I've had this phone for a long time, and it served me well. And I still probably use it as a sort of, just mess around here and there type of thing with it. Nothing more than that. Just kind of keep it just in case I need to have a spare phone on me. Obviously, probably just get a better spare, because this one's not going to be supported with iOS 17. So I probably might get like a 11 or a 12 or something like that on the cheap. We can get through the sound as well. Let's just skip a video. Let's just type in copyright free music. Let's start with this one here. So we'll start off with, I'd say about 50%. So the speakers are top here and the bottom here. Okay, so that was 50% on the X model. Now let's do 50% on the 15. Oh, there we go. This does get in the way a little bit. So if I want to go to the edge of where this bar is, it does feel like I have to hit it sometime. Maybe just get used to that, but that is with the case on it. So let's just go halfway. There's about halfway. Now, of course, this is not a complete fair test, because obviously this is the 15 plus, so obviously it'll be a bit bigger as well, so the speakers will be a bit bigger. But overall, there is a drastic difference in sound quality as well. Now, obviously this is a 5-year difference, so you're definitely seeing the age of the iPhone XS. But yeah, that that the volume without any much distortion is really lovely to hear. So you can just say play it side by side. It's very mute, and that's 50%. This is obviously 50% still. Now, I'm not too sure about how level that is. I don't know the decibels. I haven't got a decibel meter to say that's 5 times the amount. But definitely more than double. That's very mute. And look at this. This is still 50%. So it's about 50%. Gone up too much, I think. Yeah, gone up too much. Yeah, so that's 50%. You can tell this one definitely overpowers that one by a lot. And if I go down one, see they're exactly the same percentage, went up again. So both 50%. This is definitely much more empowering. That definitely just feels so mute. There's nothing wrong with these speakers. They were pretty much the same as when I first bought them. And this is the second hand, obviously second hand, so I'm not too sure if there was anything wrong with it initially. But obviously it being smaller as well, will obviously have that sort of difference, because you should have bigger speakers for a bigger phone. It was also thicker as well, and not just the case is slightly thicker than the 10X as well, but not by a whole lot. So you're definitely getting more sound quality as well. There is still stereo here. The sound is from the top here, the bottom bit here. Same on this model here, top bit and the bottom bit here. So they've actually improved upon the sound by quite a bit. And you can't always tell the difference per one to the other. So you got the 10 to 11. There's not always a good amount of like difference between them. Sometimes you can notice it, sometimes you can't. But obviously when you've got two generations of not two obviously the same or anywhere close to each other, two drastically different generations, you can tell how much they've improved upon the phone since the the first generation leap to the next generation leap of obviously having the full screen now and having the small kind of cutout area at the top. And you see there, if you lock it, they've got a little bit of it's interactive as well. So that's really lovely as well. It's an interactive little bit of a notch, not even a notch, not a hole punch. It's an interactive area, and I think it's really cleverly and nicely utilized and disguised. Whereas this is a very sort of not very pleasant cutout that kind of just makes you feel wanting more, I'd say. And this definitely fills in those gaps. Now, I'll go to 100% on this phone, because obviously it's not going to be as loud. So 100% on this phone. Now it doesn't feel too good at the full volume, felt a bit unclear. Let me just put it next to the mic. Now it doesn't feel 100% clarity on that, does it? Now here, I'm kind of a bit afraid to go 100%. And obviously we have neighbours. That's 100%. Let me just do that. Okay, that's a massive difference. Let me put it next to the mic for you guys. And there is a good amount of clarity when it is that high. Like from 50%, it was really loud, good amount of clarity. And even going from 50 to 100%, that clarity seems to continue. And there's little to no distortion that I can hear from that very small like sample. Overall, I'm very pleased. This is also just a first look. It's not a full in-depth dive into the 15 and what it can and can't do. It can't fly into space, as we know. It's not that far in advance, But obviously this is a good generation's difference. And it does show you, because Apple, you see the things with Apple, there's not a whole lot they do with upgrades, is there? So you can't look at the 10 and go to 11 and be like, oh, there's not a lot of changes. The chassis is the same, this is the same. But when you look at it from the 10 to the 15, and obviously this is the plus, plus model of the 15 series, you're going to see the differences. I mean, this is just a bigger screen size and everything else of the 15, so it's it's a good comparison still. It's not like I've gone the Pro Max or something. Still 2 cameras, it's still got everything. The only thing is just a bigger phone by screen size and battery life. On here should be about, it said video use is about 26 hours or so. And I think battery is key as well. When you want to have a phone that's going to last you all day, battery is one of those key factors. Now this one is dying, and I've charged it fully a few times. As you can see, top right here, it keeps dying on me. That is a dying battery in this phone. This one here, it was 80%, and it's still pretty much at around that percentage. So you can definitely tell that was a needed upgrade for me. After using the iPhone 15 Plus for a bit longer now, it's been about 2 to 3 days, I have a bit more just to add on to the previous part which I've said. Now, I was looking more at battery life over the past 2 to 3 days, and I can say that the battery life alone is exceptionally good. Now, initially when I looked at the thing where I went to the Apple Store in Lakeside, it said 26 hours of video, and also you can see a video from Mr. Who's the Boss where he did the testing of all the phones of the most current models of 15, I think of the 14 as well, maybe the previous winner of the longest battery life on the iPhones, and it was a 13 Plus or Pro. Now this phone, from my own usage, I've got a total of 2 whole days out of it. I'm not a heavy user, okay, I'm a pretty light user, but I still do, things here and there, so I'll turn it on, and, I will, watch videos on YouTube, I'll watch videos on TikTok, I will, use it on Facebook, Snapchat, Discord, I'll watch something on Twitch as well. I'll just go through it, some light Amazon shopping, some light reading of manga or novels or this and that. I also use my fitness watch, which will be an upcoming video as well, which we're doing on for, Connect on Strava, or using the Garmin Connect itself, and it all, gives me data and everything else. Now it's not a heavy use, but I'm using it throughout the course of the whole day, and then when I'm going to bed I'll use it my alarm as well, and then I put that on and I go to sleep, and then I wake up, and then that again will use some battery life. But when I went to bed, I went to bed, I charged the phone initially, it was 100%, went to sleep, put it on standby mode, notifications coming in and out throughout the night, and it'll wake yourself up a little bit and turn itself back off, and up and down. It basically was 100% when I woke up as well. So it used pretty much nothing. So the efficiency is incredible. The phone didn't feel hot or anything like that. Just was really nice. Just grabbed it 100%, just right out the door. No issues there whatsoever. Another lovely feature of the phone as well is the fact that on the top bit at the very top here, they've actually, instead of using it as like a small hole puncture as you see on the Android phones, they've actually made it into a feature where you would have something like, say you put your alarm clock on, and they've actually made it so that it kind of uses that sort of area as the alarm itself, and it will say, okay, you want to this is now happening, the alarm is on. It's also done it for the timers as well. It will have like a little, say, okay, 40 minutes, and it has a little clock, like a countdown clock as well, which I will just show here as well. I think it's a really lovely sort of addition to the phone, to instead of make it like a very sort of that's in the way type of thing, and you look through your phone and you're looking at it as a video, and you just see like a little bit of a mini sort of, oh, that's not doing anything type of thing. Having that hole punch there, and this feels like it's more inclusive in the phone. It feels like it's like, not like an in the way type of thing. It feels like it's like part of the phone, like it should be. So I think that's a really lovely thing. And even if you just turn the phone on and it's unlocking the phone as well, it even uses that top bit just to unlock the phone, which I think is a really lovely addition. The phone just feels more together as a whole. Like I said, okay, that camera's in the way, that's in the way, this makes the screen look a bit here and there. I never once looked at that and gone, that's a bit in the way for me, I don't like that, how it works. So it doesn't feel too, it doesn't synergize very well. The phone just feels like it just fits together really nicely, and that sort of top bar where the camera is, where the other bits are, just feels like it works really, really well. So that's a bit about the battery life and the top feature as well. And also the camera itself is the part which I'm talking about now. It's not too bad. Now for a front-facing camera, if you're about an arm's length or half an arm's length away, it does take some pretty nice photos. So in this one here, I am walking, so it was on Monday morning, just walking a bit to work, and it's done a fairly okay job considering I'm walking. The next photo here is in a lighting where it's quite bright on me. It does feel like it's kind of greyed my hair out a bit. It doesn't feel like it should be the right colour. So that's a bit here and there. Whereas today though, the lighting was really nice. I just kind of had that sort of glare at me from the, that sort of sunset, and it did do really well. Now again, it's a 12 megapixel camera on the front, and it feels like it's done a really good job. Like the skin tones feel good, it feels a bit more true to life, nothing feels too odd, and it's got a really nice bokeh effect. Like it's kind of, you know, everything else in the background is, you know, where it should be in the background, and everything was where it should be in the forefront. So I thought that's really good. And in the next picture, it's just kind of feels a bit not exactly quite correct. It does feel a bit off color slightly, but it feels, for most part of it, feels like the skin tone is roughly there. But again, the lighting is different, like one's in the shade, one's in the direct sunlight, so you will lose that bit of here and there. Obviously a bit of detail loss, but overall I think majority of it has been captured. But I feel like obviously in the sunlight it does help out a whole lot more. It feels like there's a little bit more detail. Getting onto the video of the cameras, you've got the I think the 48 on the back here, and you've got the 24 I think as well on the wide, I believe. Can't quote me on this one, I might bring up the specs as well. I've done the cinematic mode, and the cinematic mode does feel pretty good. It's 4K 30 FPS. It does feel a bit lower lighting and a bit like changing color, whereas on the standard video mode it feels like a bit brighter, and the color just feels a bit more like how it was in that sort of setting. Pretty good lighting actually. Just testing out the video a little bit more, just, you know, landscape mode, just filling it out a bit more. Just had a nice fresh shave as well. Now it does feel nice, a bit more crisp and clean. The clarity's there, feel a bit more in detailed, too sort of like smoothed out. I don't look too sort of like discolored. Does feel about, the accuracy there does feel about correct. So yeah, it looks pretty good. So there is a bit of here and there, but they both look pretty good. But overall, I think that's fantastic the way they've implemented the top part where the bar is for the camera. And it's not like how the old model used to be. It's not like, you know, it's on its own. It's a full screen now as well. It feels fully utilized. Doesn't feel like it's on its own. Doesn't feel like it's like, you know, in the way. Whereas this one felt like it's a bit more in the way. So, and especially with the screen protector cutout, even shows well the screen would wrap around it as well. Basically, that's like kind of a bit here and there how the screen was working. It wasn't completely flat. Some apps wouldn't utilize this sort of top bit as well, felt a bit dead in some areas, whereas the screen, you know, is fully utilized. Overall, the screen size as well, 6.7 inches. The nits brightness goes from about 1000, and then you've got the peak at 1600, and then you've got the outdoor brightness at max is apparently about 2000 from what I saw on the spec sheet as well. But yeah, overall, I've never had an issue so far with the brightness of the phone. I go out early morning to go to work sometimes and it's still dark. I go outside and it's dark, never been an issue. Direct sunlight, as you see that image just on the way home, no issue at all. The screen brightness directly on here so far, it's not been summer, you know, it did come out after summer, so I can't compare it to the heat and the brightness of the summer. But so far, of just like a spring to a quite bright day, feels perfectly fine, and there's no sort of like issues with glare. And especially on the photos as well, on the camera, there was no sort of halo effect, there was no God rays or anything else, there was no issues with like lighting, which is what you really want and don't, sorry, was what you don't want to see, is those like halo effects, you know. So that's, I think, really lovely. It's also an OLED screen as well, which I think also on the 10 is an OLED screen. The main things that you will notice from, say, an older phone like the X model is the fact that the brightness won't be as bright. The back camera here is 12 megapixels with a telephoto, and the front here is a 7 megapixel. And here's a picture of a 7 megapixel, and it's done fairly okay. And for 7 megapixels, this was in the summer, the lighting is fantastic, and the clarity is good for that image. Just don't zoom in. That's where you lose the clarity and everything else. The color's a bit here and there, obviously with it being degraded a bit more over time, but it's, for most of the part, it feels pretty good. I think it's just a bit off in one area, and that's generally like the fact that it's 7 megapixels. But for 7 megapixels, it's done really, really well. I mean, the phone did come out in 2017, of course, so it's about 6 years old. So it's done really good. That is the general lifespan of iPhones, about 5 to 6 years. The security as well is a big thing in a lot of people's minds. So if you have a phone that will update to iOS 17, that's what you're really looking for. I'd say anything less than the iPhone 11 is not really worth looking at because you won't get that sort of longevity, that future proofing. I know the iPhone X is no longer supported, so for security reasons like banking, using things like online shopping, anything that uses a credit card or like information that you want to have more secure, I would not use the iPhone X for that anymore, just for security. It doesn't update to iOS 17. I would not trust it with things that are more confidential to you as a person. But overall, I think it's a really lovely phone, and I really just love the implementation of the feature of that top bar around the camera, and I really love the battery life. I think one of the most important things on a phone, or in a general sense of technology, is the capacity which it can hold charge, because that's going to also be the longevity of most devices. Because this stopped like battery life being 100% a while ago. You know, I bought it second hand. It was about 80-something% when I bought it. Yeah, I think close to 90 maybe, 85 to 87, and it's only decayed by like 10 to some many percentage. If the battery life didn't decay and the security was still there, I would still use this phone. But because it's like literally dying on me as I'm using it, and I get about 3 to 4 hours of usage, and I have to charge it about 4 times a day, that's the only reason why I'm just gone. I would generally just throw this out the window, or you know, e-waste, recycling, however they want to do it. Unless someone wants to buy it off me. I'm kind of keen to sell it if I have to. Just get a bit of money back from it. But I'm not overly fussed, because it was very cheap for me, and it lasts me what, 4 to 5 years. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about it. Whereas this one, you know, I want to get a better case, because obviously it's a longer phone, so there's a lot more that can be damaged, and obviously it can cost more, obviously, for a bigger phone as well. The main thing, obviously, battery life. Now, the battery life is costing me 2 whole days worth of just the same usage as the iPhone XS, and I think that's fantastic. Now, if you're not really too concerned about the battery life, you can get the lower end model of the iPhone 15, just the base model. It's still got a really good battery life for about 20 hours of video, they said. And that's, again, one testing that the Apple put on the little sticker at the front when you look at the phones. It said 20 hours, it said 26 hours. But again, the thing is that was one setting. So it's the optimal setting for how they want to get the most hours out of it for this, running it across, I don't know, straight, maybe 26 hours straight. The issue is that's not the case for a user. No one does that the whole 26 hours because no one's going to be awake that long, hopefully. Most people use different apps, different things, functions and features. So that's not really true to a user's experience. Mr. Who's the Boss did, I think, a better usage overall of more like a whole day's worth of being very active on your phone. Mine is more very light usage of a person who has a phone that uses it now and again, watching some TikTok, YouTube, music, you know, this, that, reading, you know, typing, messaging, video chatting and stuff like that. Not done the video chatting yet, but you know, it's only been about 2-3 days, and I think, you know, the sound quality is phenomenal. So yeah, it's just what you're looking for in a phone. But I think for an older person, if you're more, you know, wanting to see things clearly, I know you can increase the sizes within the settings as well. But also just for a phone as well, the iPhone is very sort of simple of use. It's kind of grab and go, very simple to pick up, very, you know, user friendly as well. Androids can be a bit here and there in terms of user friendliness, and they're not always most reliable as seen in the past. The newer models, the 23, the Samsung, and I think the Google Pixel 8 has been a bit better, but their past kind of speaks a bit for them a little bit, saying they're a bit here and there. And I think overall, just kind of more true to life, if you want to see that, capture that moment, Apple have that sort of easy to use user friendliness, a bigger screen size. I can't really compare to the Samsung 23 Ultra, I don't have it on me, but you know, the Plus version is only £100 more expensive. The screen size is perfectly fine for, I think, any user, and you can, I think, also increase the text as well as being bigger as well. But you know, if you're an older person, you want to have a bit bigger phone, a bit bigger, you know, to use, you know, just see things clearer. The Plus model, a bit more expensive, but gets you everything you're looking for in a phone. Obviously, we'll look at the Garmin watch next. Fantastic. That's what I have to say about it right now. Just want a bit more data on it, like the weather-wise. I want to get more data on that weather and like how it holds in really bad conditions. And I have got some data on that already, but I always want to see a bit more usage as it gets colder, because it's now coming towards winter. I want to see how it handles the colder temperatures before I give you a more rundown on the watch. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.